Welcome to the Ohio County Public Library's online story time. My name is Miss Jennifer.
I'm Miss Ellie.
And last week we started a whole new set of stories all about going to school. Do you remember that? Last week we had stories about your letters. Remember we did the sign for A, B, C's. So we were learning our ABCs last week. This week we're going to do some stories about numbers. So here's the sign for counting. Whenever you're doing counting, you're going to pinch your thumb and your pointer finger together. Your other fingers are kind of out wide, and then you're going to run it across your other hand. Counting, counting, kind of like you're holding a coin in your hand, and then you're running it across your other hand. Counting. We're going to learn about counting today and all about numbers. So let's get ready to get started. We're going to start by getting our alligators out. A is for alligator, chomp, chomp, chomp. B is for bouncing, so we'll hop, hop, hop. C is for circle, so let's turn around. And D is for we all sit down. Good job. Well, like I said, we're going to do some stories about numbers. And, you know, as we've been doing online story times, we've been doing it for a lot of months. And we want to give a big thank you to all of the publishers and authors and illustrators and other librarians that we have used a lot of their materials. And so we just want to say thank you for letting libraries and schools share virtually online a lot of your materials. So thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing us to do that and to be able to have our story times online. So we appreciate you guys so much. But I want to share a story that's kind of a very old story, okay? The title of this story is Over in the Meadow, and the author of this book is John Langstaff, okay? And it's a very old classic story. Your parents or even your grandparents might have had this story or learned this story when they were very young. Over in the Meadow. Over in the meadow, in the sand, in the sun, lived an old mother turtle and her little turtle one. Dig, said the mother, I dig, said the one. So he dug and was glad in the sand, in the sun. Down in the meadow where the tall grass grew, lived an old mother red fox and her little foxes too. Run, said the mother, we run, said the two. So they ran and were glad in the tall grass, where the tall grass grew. Over in the meadow, in a nest in a tree, lived an old mother robin and her little birdies three. Sing, said the mother, we sing, said the three. So they sang and were glad in their nest in the tree. Over in the meadow by a tall sycamore, lived an old mother chipmunk and her little chipmunks four. Play, said the mother, we play, said the four. So they played and were glad in the tall sycamore. Over in the meadow in a new little hive, lived an old mother queen bee and her honeybees five. Said the mother, we said the five. So they hummed and were glad in their little beehive. Over in the meadow in a dam built of sticks, lived an old mother beaver and her little beaver six. Build, said the mother, we build, said the six. So they built and were glad in the dam built of sticks. Over in the meadow, in the green wet bogs, lived an old mother froggy and her 7 pollywogs. Swim, said the mother, we swim, said the wogs. So they swam and were glad where the green wet bogs. Over in the meadow, as the day grew late, lived an old mother owl and her little owls 8. Wink, said the mother, we wink, said the 8. So they winked and were glad as the day grew late. Over in the meadow, in a web on the pine, lived an old mother spider and her little spiders 9. Spin, said the mother, we spin, said the 9. So they spun and were glad in their web on the pine. Over in the meadow in a warm little den lived an old mother rabbit and her little bunnies 10. Hop, said the mother wheat, hop, said the 10. So they hopped and were glad in their warm little den. The end. So a very, very old story. Over in the meadow, there are a lot of animals that you could count if you went exploring out in a meadow, isn't there? Well, not only are there animals in a meadow, sometimes there are animals that live at your house. Maybe you might have a pet cat. I'm going to do some counting with cats. 1 cat sleeps. And 2 cats play. 3 cats stack. Look at that, I've got 3 cats all stacked together. 4 cats teeter. Oh, it's getting pretty high. 5 cats totter. And 6 cats. 6 cats prefer 2 stacks of 3 cats. Look at that. I can take 6 and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 plus 3 equals 6. All right, here we go. 7 cats nap and 8 cats try, but 8 cats stumble and 9 cats agree that it's best if it's 3, 3, and 3. That's the best way to do 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. And 10 cats are just too many. And so, 1 cat sleeps. Goodbye, sleepy cats. 2 cats climb up and away. 2 more cats hide. And 2 cats seek. And 3 cats stack. How would you stack cats? The end. There are a lot of different ways to do groupings with cats or with anything that you might be counting. You could group them in different ways. That's a kind of a fun way to do some counting. Miss Ellie's got some fun stories about counting as well today.
I do. The story I'm going to tell y'all guys about is called Count to 10 with a Mouse by Margaret Wise Brown. There once was a little mouse, no bigger than a mole, who lived in a round place that he called a hole. He tried to count his nose, he tried to count his toes. He said, I'd better learn to count, and so the story goes. One mouse looked one like a one book, who had 1 hole to run through. 2 holes, then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran into the next page to take a little look. And there, what did he see? And there, what did he see? 3 little fishes swimming in the sea. Then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran onto the next page to take a little look. And there, what did he see? And there, what did he see? 4 little monkeys swinging in a tree. Then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran on to the next page to take a little look. 5 butterflies, and there, great sakes alive, and there, great sakes alive. Here he found 5 butterflies, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran on to the next page to take a little look. 6 little pussycats, all among the mix, and in among the mix, 6 little pussycats are all in a fix. So the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran into the next page to take a little look. 7 apples, good job. And there, what did he see? And there, what did he see? 7 little apples upon an apple tree. Want to go sing with me now? Then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran into the next page to take a little look. 8 crows, and here is what he saw, and here is what he saw. 8 shiny black crows learning how to call. And then the mouse ran through the book, the mouse ran through the book. He ran on to the next page to take a little look. 9 o'clock. Here everything is fine. The clock has just struck 9. 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock, and everything is fine. Oh, hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. Then hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran down the clock. Then the mouse went through the book, the mouse went through the book. He ran on to the next page to take a little look. And when he got to 10, he turned around the other way and ran right back again. The end. That one was cute. And then the next story I've got to tell you guys is about some sausages in a pan. All right. Can you guys help me count some sausages? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 fat sausages sizzling in a pan. One went pop and the other went bam. 2 away. How many does that leave us with now, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 fat sausages sizzling in a pan. One went pop and the other went bam. That leaves us 2. That's pretty good. So 2 fat sausages sizzling in a pan. One went pop and the other went bam. Good job. That was so much fun. No more sausages sizzling in that pan. The end.
That was so funny. You know, sometimes whenever we're counting by just one at a time. And when we're counting up, we're adding numbers. And when we are sometimes we're counting down, like doing one number at a time, counting down, then we're subtracting. But today we've done some counting in different ways. We've taken 2 away, or we've added sets of 3. So we've tried to kind of maybe introduce some new ways for you to use numbers and counting with your preschooler. But it wouldn't be much of a counting program if we didn't do probably one of our favorite stories where we do some counting. And this is the story of Pete the Cat, and it's for Groovy Buttons. You see, once upon a time, there was a cat, and his name was Pete the Cat, and he had a favorite yellow vest, and on that vest, he had 4 colorful, groovy buttons, and he loved those buttons so much that he sang a song. He sang, my buttons, my 4 groovy buttons, my buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. But then, one of the buttons popped off, and it rolled away. But did Pete cry? Goodness no, buttons come and buttons go. Well, now how many buttons does he have? 1, 2, 3. 4 take away 1 is 3. So he sang, my buttons, my 3 groovy buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. But then, there we go. Oh no, one of his buttons popped off and it rolled away. But did Pete cry? Goodness no, buttons come and buttons go. Now he has 2 buttons. So he sang, my buttons, my 2 groovy buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. And then, one of his buttons popped off and it rolled away. But did Pete cry? Goodness no, buttons come and buttons go. But now he just has one. You're right, two take away one is one. Can you sing it with me? He sang my buttons, my buttons, my one, groove that button, my button, my button, my one, groove that button. But then, oh no, his last button popped off and it rolled away. But did Pete cry? Goodness no, buttons come and buttons go. But now, Pete looked down and he noticed he didn't have any buttons left on his vest. But then Pete noticed something. He still had his belly button. Oh, I still have my belly button. My button, my button. Still got my belly button. My button, still got my belly button. So buttons come and buttons go, but do you cry? Goodness no, just keep on singing your song. The end. Probably one of our favorite stories here at the library, Pete and His Groovy Buttons by Eric Litwin. We're so excited to be able to share that with you today. Let's get ready to stand up. Would you all, this is a very old nursery rhyme that we want to share with you today, and you've probably heard it for years, ever since you were a baby. Do you remember 1, 2, buckle your shoe? Let's see if we can do that together. So we're going to do the motions to it. We're going to do 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Can you reach down and touch your shoes? 3, 4, we're going to knock at the door. Can you knock at the door? 5, 6, and then we're going to pick up sticks. 7, 8, we're going to lay them straight. And 9, 10, a big fat hen. Can you do a chicken flapping its wings? All right, you ready? So 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, knock on the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10, a big fat hen. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, knock at the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10, a big fat hen. All right, good job. Well, let's get ready to head over to the table and let's do some activities that have to do with counting, all right? Thank you, Miss Ellen, for sitting with me today. All right. Well, couple of things that I wanted to kind of go over today as you're doing some work with numbers or with counting with your preschoolers, a couple of things that you can remember. One of the main things that you always need to remember is that when you're doing counting with your children, with your preschoolers, you always want to teach children to read. We count the way that we also read, okay? So when we're counting, we always want to encourage our children to go from left to right and from the top to the bottom. So a fun activity that would encourage that understanding of counting in order from left to right, from top to bottom, would be something like either a 10 grid or a 20 grid activity sheet. This is something that I printed off the internet, but you can also just create your own. Maybe get a dice out and have your child roll the dice and then do some counting. So we're going to count 4, and you could either put marshmallows or M&Ms or pieces of cereal, or I'm just going to count them over. So when I'm counting 4 on a grid, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to go from left to right and from top to bottom. So whenever I would roll it again, I've got 4 again. So I'm going to start where I left off. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 plus 4, I have 8. Okay, I rolled a 4, and then I rolled another 4, and I ended up at 8 whenever I was counting. So like I said, you can either use it with little objects or just crossing them off. But the main thing to get across is that we count the way we read from left to right, from top to bottom. So that's kind of a fun activity that might encourage that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was not only do we count left to right, top to bottom, but also that it's important as you're teaching your children about numbers that they learn not only to identify the number, but also maybe the word for that number, and then how that number is represented. One of my favorite stories for that, Miss Ellie's book that she shared with you earlier had that in it as well. the author showed the number and then had the word for the number as well, okay, on each page. So that's a really good one for that. Another one is a new book that came out about a year or so ago, Goodnight Numbers by Danica McKellar. And as you can see, you see the number 1. Your preschooler sees the number 1. They see the word for 1. And then in the picture, they're going to see the number 1 represented in different ways, like here as part of a 10 frame, and then there's going to be other ways, some tally marks and things as well, okay? So this is a fun way to do it. So make sure that your children not only can recognize the number, but the word, and then how it would be represented, okay? So that's another great way to encourage a greater understanding of numbers with your preschoolers. Another way to do representations, there's a lot of different ways that we can represent numbers. One of the funnest things to do is to do maybe graphs. This is an M&M graph that I got off of Teachers Pay Teachers. It was a free download. You could get some M&Ms or some Skittles or some cereal that comes in different colors. You would have your preschooler, then whenever you're doing graphing, they would dump out their pieces and sort them by color. So they would see how many blues, how many yellows, how many orange, how many green, and how many red. Then, using crayons, let's say I have 2 red. So I'm going to color in 2 blocks red. Let's see, green, I have 4 green. So I'm going to color in 4 green. Okay. So doing a graph is a fun way to encourage some understanding of numbers. On this side, they also talk about tally marks. That's another thing to encourage your children to learn about counting by doing tallies. So if I was doing my tally for my red, I would have 2 lines. 1, 2. 2 lines for 2 M&Ms. And then down here is a pictograph. A pictograph means that I'm representing that number with a picture. So I would draw 2 red circles to represent 2 red M&Ms. Okay? So a fun way to do some extended work with numbers is maybe to do some graphs. Okay, different ways to do graphs. A fun thing to do would be to play some board games. Things like Chutes and Ladders and Hi-Ho Cheerio are great preschool games that really encourage your child to do some counting, all right? So that would be a fun way to encourage some greater understanding of numbers and counting. And then, don't forget, the library has a great collection of manipulatives that are perfect for working with preschoolers on number skills. We have flashcards. We have different things like some manipulatives like counting, little counting cubes that you could use. Also, again, something else just to use for a manipulative for counting, maybe some sticks, okay, counting sticks. And then this is a really fun activity that we acquired in the last year. It's called It's a Snap Math Center, where your preschooler can snap on colors and then do some adding and subtracting. So for a greater, a little bit higher level of math understanding, okay? So a lot of fun things. So don't forget, you can come and you can utilize these manipulatives, and especially this year, as some of you may be doing preschool and kindergarten as distance learners, don't forget that the library has things that can also help you with that as well, okay? Let's get ready to sing one last song as we get ready to go. When I think of numbers, a lot of times I think of a clock. And in Miss Ellie's story, remember the mouse, at the end of the story, it said, hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. We're going to do a clock, like a cuckoo clock rhyme today, okay? So we're going to put our hands together, okay? And we're going to go tick tock, and then you're going to point to yourself. I'm a little cuckoo clock. And then we're going to do our hands together again. Tick tock, tick tock. Now I'm striking 1 o'clock. And every time that we strike an o'clock, we're going to go cuckoo, and we're going to jump up cuckoo. All right, so 1 o'clock is cuckoo 1 time. All right, so let's get ready to do this. Can we do it together? So tick tock, I'm a little cuckoo clock. Tick tock, now I'm striking 1 o'clock. Cuckoo! All right. Tick tock, I'm a little cuckoo clock. Tick tock, now I'm striking 2 o'clock. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Tick tock, I'm a little cuckoo clock. Tick tock, now I'm striking 3 o'clock. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. All right, 4, ready? Tick tock, I'm a little cuckoo clock. Tick tock, now I'm striking 4 o'clock. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. 5. Tick tock, I'm a little cuckoo clock. Tick tock, now I'm striking 5 o'clock. Ready? Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. Good job, cuckoo clocks. You did a wonderful, wonderful job. I'm so glad you've joined us this week. Next week, we're going to talk about shapes and colors. Another thing that you'll learn whenever you go to school. Are you ready? It's time for our hands to give thanks. Our hands give thanks with a clap, clap, clap. Our feet give thanks with a tap, tap, tap. Clap, clap, clap. Tap, tap, tap. We roll them together and we wave goodbye.
See you next time.
See you next week. Bye-bye.